What's going on, my BOBW crew? What it do, what it do? I am back here once again at Brown Deer Police Department. Got a response from the Triple Net complaint form already. So Amy J. Copel is asking to speak with me, have an interview. So go up in here and see if we can find her. Said she tried calling me, but couldn't get a hold of me. I tried calling them, but couldn't get a hold of them. So we'll see. Hi, how are you?
Okay.
I received a letter from Administrative Lieutenant Amy J. Copel about an interview. Is she available?
What's your name?
Good Citizen.
Okay. I'm gonna find it for you, okay?
Oh,
Okay. I'll find it.
where was it from?
Says the complaint she completed did not have a phone number listed so that I could contact you. Brown Deer Police Department takes citizen complaints very seriously. I want to ensure the internal investigation is able to address all of your concerns and that I understand them fully. Please contact me as soon as possible, 414-371-2908, as I would like to set up a time for an interview. So like I said, I tried calling. For some reason, I couldn't get through this time. So I just decided to come here. I
am Lieutenant Keppel. Thank you for coming in.
Hi, how are you?
Assuming you got my letter?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Do you mind coming in?
Absolutely, not a problem. I did attempt to leave my number with Captain, but he preferred the address, said it was easier so I'd have stuff
Okay.
in writing and so forth, so.
And I was wondering too, if you had tried to call last week, we were having some issues with our phones and only the emergency lines were working, so. I'm
I
glad
did
you-
say that. I did
Okay.
attempt to call multiple times and couldn't get through, so I just came today.
Okay. So again, like I said, I'm Lieutenant Keppel. My role here is an administrative lieutenant.
Okay.
And one of my jobs is to do internal investigations and employee misconduct complaints, citizen complaints, and things like that.
Okay.
So I read the citizen complaint that you provided, and I just want to make sure that I understand all of your allegations and that there's no questions, that I fully understand and that I comprehend what you're trying to convey in your citizen complaint.
Okay.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about, I guess, start off what happened that day?
Well, as I explained to the captain, I have a YouTube channel.
Right.
And so I was gathering content from my YouTube channel, going about my normal business that I normally do, which is come and check out the inner workings of police departments, check out how the complaint form process goes, see what our squad cars look like, see what the police stations look like inside and out. And during the process of that, I'll also go and look to see if I can locate any undercover vehicles.
Okay.
That's the key. I love to try to find the undercover vehicles and see what they look like and so forth. And I know it may not be something that you guys like to show because they're undercover for a reason, but I do like to try to see if I can find them. So during this particular day, that's all I was doing. I went into the back to see if I could locate any undercover vehicles. I was almost done and about to leave when I was approached by an Officer Hanson. Okay. And his initial contact was, "Can I help you?" And I said, "No, that's okay." And right after that, it was, "Well, you're gonna have to leave or you're gonna be arrested." And I said, "Arrested?" And he said, "Yeah, for trespassing." But there were no trespassing signs, a do not enter sign, nothing. The captain came out and confirmed it.
So can we backtrack just a few
Sure.
minutes before that?
Not a problem.
That encounter with Officer Hanson. And I'll be honest, I am familiar with some of your other videos.
Okay.
And I see how you handle the situations as far as when there's signs maybe more articulately posted than ours. Going back to the sign, is one of the reasons that you came in the back is because the sign's either unclear or only restricts parking in your interpretation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And for example, I don't recall if it was Germantown had a more official sign, and you did not enter the lot?
Of course.
Was that because of the sign?
Of course.
Okay.
You guys, it's publicly accessible. All police departments are publicly accessible. You guys do have and reserve the right to restrict off certain areas if you so choose.
Okay, I
But
just wanted to make sure that I understood, I guess, some of your rationale behind going into the lots of some police departments versus others.
yes, if it's restricted and do not enter, employees only, I will honor the rules and regulations of said signs and so forth. But when it's only restricted parking, I don't have a vehicle. I'm not entering the parking lot with the vehicle whatsoever. And the police departments, not just Milwaukee, but police departments are publicly accessible. And we're allowed to, under the First Amendment protected activity, we're allowed to record our officials working under their official capacity and so forth. And that's all I was doing.
And I don't want you to feel like you have to justify that any further. I just wanted to make sure I understood when I look at some of the other videos, because I do want to do a complete internal investigation. And if there are other village practices that we need to improve upon, in addition to the allegations that you make in your complaint, I want to make sure it's addressed fully, if you follow what I'm saying.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
Now, also before you had an encounter with Officer Hansen, you had an encounter with another officer.
Lozano?
Brief. Can you tell me about that?
That was awesome. He knew exactly that I was allowed to record. I was committing no crime. He knew that as well. I spoke to him a second, said hello to them all, went about my bit. He left me alone. He didn't. I gave him a B+ only because he didn't stop Hansen from violating my rights. He didn't stop it. He could have put an end to it. He could have told Officer Hansen, look, he's not doing anything wrong. He's allowed to do that. And he didn't. And so but he was great. Other than that, he was awesome. Those are the officers that we need in our police departments, because those are the ones who stick by the laws.
Okay.
So he was great.
And continuing, I guess, with Officer Lozano, he parked his squad back by the employee parking area and just monitored what you were doing.
Indeed.
How do you feel about that?
That's okay.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine.
Why do you think that's okay?
Suspicion is not a crime.
Okay.
But nonetheless, if I am going around looking for undercover vehicles and you guys wanted to make sure I didn't tamper with any vehicles or do anything nefarious to any vehicles, it's okay. You guys have every right to stand by and watch. I mean, you guys have every right to do that. It's the interfering and violating those constitutional rights that I have that's the issue. That's all. This is the Brown Deer Police Department. He's a Brown Deer officer. I came to the Brown Deer Police Department into the parking lot. If he wanted to watch, that's perfectly well within his right as well, being an officer of the law.
And then back to your encounter with Officer Hansen. Tell me about what happened there.
Well, like I said, initial contact when he first engaged me was with hostility. It's in my video. He asked, "Can I help you?" But it was with hostility. I said no. And then the next thing that came out of his mouth was, "You're going to have to leave or you're going to be arrested." And I said, "Arrested?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "For what?" He said, "Trespassing." And it ensued from there. I told him I wasn't trespassing. I told him I was well within every right to record my public officials in public, working under their official capacity. That includes squad cars and so forth. I told him I was allowed to do that by First Amendment protected activity of the Constitution of the United States of America. And he disagreed. He completely denied me access to the back parking lot. He tried to make me leave. I tried to identify him. He refused to identify. He put on his gloves in a threatening manner and went from there. He continued to proceed to tell me to leave off of the property and I couldn't be there and I had to listen to him, and he just continued giving directives. Didn't even attempt to understand or figure out what I was actually doing. If he was ignorant toward the Constitution or what I was doing in that moment, he could have simply asked, but he chose not to. Completely disregarded my rights and what I was doing, and yeah, that's how it happened. Lozano was actually the one who walked me to the sign to show me the sign in the front that says restricted parking, employees only.
Did Officer Hanson try to walk you
No,
through the sign?
I asked him to show me the sign multiple times. It's on the video. He ignored me, just like he ignored identifying himself. It took Officer Lozano to show me the sign. Now, what happens after Lozano walks me to the sign, that's the serious part. To me.
So up until that point, and we're gonna, let's just stop before you go to the sign with Officer Lozano.
Okay?
Okay, so up until that point, I wanna be clear that I understand what constitutional rights do you, say are violated by our officers?
My First Amendment protected activity, my First Amendment right to record in public, freedom of speech, press, all that. It's my First Amendment right to record.
And who do you believe violated that right?
Officer Hanson. Definitely. One officer allowed me, who I spoke to first, Officer Lozano. He allowed me to conduct the business that I was there to conduct.
Okay.
So for Hanson to come out and then impede on my rights by even being allowed by Lozano, he came out and then went over Lozano.
Okay.
So I mean,
So up until that point, and again, we're gonna stop before you walk to the sign with Officer Lozano.
okay.
Okay. Did you feel like you were under arrest?
No, when he put his gloves on, I had a feeling that I may be placed under arrest. He walked right up to me and put his gloves on, telling me that I had to go. And so I felt that I may be placed under arrest, but no,
Okay. So you did not feel like you were under arrest?
not
and
at that
did
moment,
you-
no.
Did you feel like you were being detained?
At that moment, no.
And then, so you go to the sign with Officer Lozano, and he tries to explain to you that the interpretation of the sign is two different things.
Yes.
And I understand that you are engaging in your right to come and view your public officials and the property. But in the interview with you here today, I think we can agree that the sign maybe is not as clear as it could be. And
I think it's pretty clear. It's restricted parking.
okay,
If you guys were, see, there's other departments, as you've already hinted to,
Correct.
that have the proper signage up in order to keep the press, public, members
Right.
of the public, whoever, out of those certain areas.
And-
And you guys don't have any signage whatsoever, even remotely similar to the other signage that I've seen.
and I guess my point with that is that, yes, it is a poorly worded sign.
Are
If
our
that-
citizens
if that
supposed to
is what-
interpret it the way you guys do?
Well, I guess my question is, I think you kind of knew what Officer Lozano was trying to say, whether you
No.
agreed with it or not.
I didn't understand at all that it's in the video. I was shocked. I was like, what are you talking about, Lozano? I have absolutely no idea. He even said there's two different,
Like sentences or
yeah,
clauses.
two different clause. That's exactly what it was. He said there was two different clauses, and I'm like, what? I have no idea what he was talking about. And if you could show me the clauses, by all means, show me those clauses, because I'd very much like to see them. Because there's lawful activity and then there's unlawful activity. And if you guys don't have the proper signage up to restrict people from certain areas, the police station as a whole is open to the public and publicly accessible. If a member of the public or citizen, such as myself, literally can go on any part of the Brown Deer Police Department because unless you have it restricted, because it is completely open to the public.
Okay.
And so you guys have no signage whatsoever. I get that you're going to try to sit here and tell me what your interpretations are in the first clause, second clause. No, we have to, the members of the public, we don't know your guys' policy.
Sure. No,
we
and-
don't know.
And I understand that and I appreciate that. I'm just trying to, I guess, since you do pay attention to the signs.
Always.
At every agency you go to.
Always.
I
I record
think
them.
You probably, at least, whether you agree with it or not, understand what Lozano was trying to say.
I told you once again, I'll repeat myself. I don't understand it. If you have the clause, show me them so that I may understand them. Please, I'm sitting here with you now. There's no better time than now. So if you have the clauses, please show them to me so I can record it myself and have it down as proof that what Lozano was saying is actual factual, because it didn't make sense to me. It seemed to me, and I wrote this in the video, it seemed to me that he was trying to stick by his brother in blue and justify Hanson's unlawful kicking me out of the parking lot.
Okay.
His unlawful trespassing me. Lozano, after initially letting me be, was co-signing then after that. Once Hanson came with the aggression that he came with, Lozano co-signed Hanson. And that was it after that. When he took me to the sign, he was stumbling over his words and everything, trying to explain the first and second clause. Okay. So I do not understand it whatsoever. I still don't understand what first or second clause he's talking about. It is a complete conundrum to me. And if you have the clauses, please show them to me so my viewers can see them as well.
I think this is a good example of why, if the determination is that access needs to be restricted back there, then the sign needs to improve.
Well, if you guys want to restrict access to members of the public, then you definitely have to change the signage.
So when you're done speaking with Officer Lozano and he tries to explain his interpretation of the sign to you,
right,
and you're trying to explain what you see and how you interpret the sign,
right,
and then you start heading back to the same area again. Can you tell me what happened then?
Well, I was just going to finish up the last few cars that I had. Because I was interrupted, I wasn't going to allow them to remove me off of my lawful activity of recording. I had to finish what I was doing, and so I wanted to go finish my business. And so I walked back to go back to the parking lot to finish gathering my content. And Hanson is over by the door off to the side there. He's standing there. As I'm walking up, he literally bull rushes me. And if I don't sidestep, he runs right into me. But I sidestep and he still brushes my arm. Now, when I was talking to the captain, I made the mistake of using the word bumped, and he focused on that bump so bad that it is what it is. I mentioned it in my video of when I filed the actual complaint form, that it wasn't an actual bump, like he bumped me off the marker and all that. I explained that. I misspoke when I said the word bump, and I feel like the captain focused on that bump so much that it kind of diluted my whole complaint altogether. You know what I mean? And I didn't appreciate that much. But to say it now, it ain't like he just bumped me off a track or nothing. If I wouldn't have moved, he would have. Okay. But I sidestepped him and he still brushed me.
Okay. And you said your arm? It brushed your arm?
Yes, my arm.
And do you recall which arm that was?
My right, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Yes.
And
I can refer back to the video, but I sidestepped to the right and I made a turn back and started walking backwards. Okay. While I was approaching the parking lot in the back.
And what part of his body did he touch you with?
Not really sure, because I had the camera up, so I'm not really sure if it was his chest, his arm, or what. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
You guys have his body footage, don't you? His body cam footage? I'm gonna FOIA that as well, but the captain said he was going to take a look at it. His should be on his body camera.
You thought it might be his chest or his
arm or shoulder, or I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
His belly, I'm not exactly sure.
And then what happened?
Nothing after that. I started walking backwards. He was telling me to come back, and I had to listen to him and to talk to him. And upon me walking backwards out, that's when the captain came out. So. It was pretty much done after that. Whether the bump or the brush or whatever it be, whether it be intentional or unintentional, I think it's intentional because he made an effort to come at me that way. And if I wouldn't have moved, he would have bumped me off. But that was unlawful contact, unwanted contact, actual physical contact. Whether he meant it in a nefarious way or tried to or not, he was impeding on my constitutional rights in the process of him bumping me, brushing me, however you want to word it. In the process of that happening, he was impeding on constitutional rights to begin with.
Okay. And during that contact, and again, we're talking about after you left the conversation with Officer Lozano,
Yes.
and when you say that Officer Hansen, came in and you described it as bull rushed you and.
Oh, it was a bull rush. He came at me extremely fast. And he's a big guy.
And you say that was unlawful, unwanted contact, and that it impeded your rights. I just want to be clear that I understand what rights you're referring to.
Okay.
So what rights are you referring to when you talk about that contact being unlawful and unwanted?
My right to continue on my business of what I was there for initially,
Okay.
which is recording my public officials working under their official capacity, which is my First Amendment right.
Okay. And during that contact, that time of the contact, did you feel that you were under arrest?
No.
Did you feel that you were detained?
No, I wasn't detained because I sidestepped him and he made no attempt to grab me or anything from that point. So no, I didn't feel I was detained, no.
Okay.
But if the captain hadn't come out, like I said, the captain came out when I sidestepped him and he brushed me, I was walking backwards. That's when the captain came out. And during that interaction is when the captain came out. And he de-escalated the whole situation.
Okay.
Who knows what would have happened had the captain not come out? Even after the initial contact and my explaining what I was doing and my going to the sign with Lozano and my speaking with Lozano, even after all of that, when I go back to conduct my business, he bull rushed me even after all that. So that is definitely him trying to impede on my First Amendment. Even knowing what I was doing, he tried to stop me.
Have you been at this agency before this interaction with Officer Hansen?
I can't recall. It's possible. I've done a couple videos, multiple videos of multiple police departments, but can't recall if I did one. I definitely haven't posted one from here, but I'm not sure if I came here and was left alone before and came back a second time. I believe I may have came here before, but I'm not sure. I have to recall back to my videos.
Okay. And then, are there things that you believe escalated this interaction?
Lack of knowledge. You can make an argument if you so choose to say that maybe I could have handled it better. I was argumentative and in debating with my rights and all that. You could, sure, but it's a violation of my rights. I'm just not gonna stand by and let an officer, a lieutenant, a captain, or anyone explain why they're violating my rights. That's not how I operate. So I think the lack of knowledge is what exacerbated this situation.
And then, as part of my investigation into this, I have our outside surveillance. I have both of our officers' body cameras. I
Awesome.
have your YouTube. I also have your discussion with Interim Chief Schmitz, so that if I've missed anything, I guess I have an opportunity to address, you know, anything else that you have addressed with him. Is there any other evidence as far as like video evidence, anything else that you think that I need to be aware of?
Pertaining to this incident? No.
Okay,
No, everything you need to find out, you can see on the videos.
okay,
And his body cam, I'm assuming as well. Like I said, I'm in the process of FOIAing that myself. So
and have you already completed the open records request?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not, but I am going to as soon as I leave here. I wanted to speak with you first.
And they can help you up at the counter with that, and they'll have a form that you would need to fill out. And they can explain that process a little
Okay.
bit better.
No, not a problem. Not a problem.
So what would you like to see happen as a result of this citizen complaint?
Definitely training. Definitely retraining.
And what type of training are you talking about?
Citizens' constitutional rights training. That's specifically. You guys, what is it, like 40 hours that you guys have to do and that's it? It's something like that. I don't know exactly, but it's not enough. It's not enough training to handle the discrepancies in the Constitution that are being violated by police officers all across the United States of America every single day.
So you're speaking in generalities as well, not just
Oh, yeah.
specifically
Oh,
to
yeah.
Officer Hansen.
Well, Hansen for sure needs retraining. That was abrasive. It was aggressive. He could have handled that situation as an officer working under his official capacity. He could have handled that way different. His aggression toward me for simply recording was unwarranted. It's simply should not have happened to begin with. And I'm not one of those persons where if you come at me a certain way, I'm just going to cower because you're in a position of authority. No, if I'm in every right and I have a right to do what I'm doing, you cannot then come and try to aggressively stand on me, so to speak. I won't allow it. And that's how that happened.
Okay.
Not sure if you want to put that under communication training. Not exactly sure. De-escalation training. I mean, he should already have that, but there was no de-escalation happening in that situation whatsoever until the captain came out. How about a training of officers to not stand idly by when misconduct and unlawful activity is being conducted by other officers? How about that? Because Lozano just stood there and then he sided with Hansen, knowing I was doing nothing. I understand you guys have a code. You guys do what you do. It's the police force. You guys stick together. There's a brotherhood / sisterhood. I understand that, but you can't allow your officers to just stand by when something unlawful is taking place just because it's another officer that's enforcing this unlawful activity. Someone has to step up and say, okay, this is not right. You cannot do this.
All right. And then is there anything else that you would like to see happen as a result of this citizen complaint?
Other than settling it out of federal court for the situation, no. I didn't put the top dollar amount on there. I put a little bit of amount to settle out before I file a lawsuit against Officer Hansen. But other than that, no. Retraining, and I guess I would say to settle from going to court. But I'm willing to take this all the way to court too. So that's what I plan on doing. So.
Okay. Is there anything else you think I should be aware of?
At the moment, no.
Is I'm assuming then that the address that you gave on Wheelock where you got the letter I sent is a good address for you?
Yes.
Okay. And then are you able to give me your phone number so that if I have any further follow-up questions that I'm able to ask them in maybe a more timely manner?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I will write it down for you off camera. I do have viewers, so.
Alright, I appreciate that.
Not a problem at all.
So I need to conclude the investigation, and then, like I said, if I do have more questions, I'll contact you.
Feel free.
Usually what I do then is I type up a summary of the investigation after I look at all the details of the case, and I present my findings to the Office of the Chief of Police.
Okay.
Generally, what should happen after that is you should have some communication with the Office of the Chief of Police as far as what the disposition of the internal investigation is.
Okay.
And we try to get that out to people as timely as possible.
Okay.
When everything is all wrapped up. So do you have any questions for me today?
I do not.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, I can walk you up to the window and then we can get you started on that open records request.
All right, I
Are
appreciate
you ready
that.
to do it today?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I heard you in there.
Did they all go downstairs?
Mark said he was coming up to find out.
Oh.
Dan, what's up?
Mark.
How are you? Good, how are
Did
you? Good to see you.
Open records
Yes,
request.
yes.
He's looking for body camera footage and I can help with the incident number. Do you already have the incident number?
I do not.
Okay, let me grab that for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Alright, just your information up here. And then she'll get an instant number, just put that'll cover this whole area, just an instant number. And then just a signature.
Oh, that's it? Awesome.
Let me check with the records, or body cam stuff, you might have to prepay, let me check for you, okay?
All righty.
Yeah, it'll be just a minute. Yep, it'll be $10 prepayment for DVDs.
How do you know how much it's gonna cost if you don't know how long the video is?
DVDs are, you log in on one DVD, and one DVD is always $10.
It'll be the whole
Whole thing.
body cam? Okay, awesome. Do you need the incident number? I gotta go get the money out my car. It's in my wallet.
I'll hang out, and, yep,
You need the incident number?
she'll bring it up for me, we'll take care of it. Yeah, go, you can grab the car.
All right. Grab this dough. Had to go grab this little money.
Good, how are you? Over for you? Yep. Beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Where did you, where do we wanna? 655. Oh, okay, thanks, got it. And you're. Okay, I wasn't getting that. Your H was very cute.
That has the call number and then my name on the back. If you have any questions, give me a call.
You're awesome. I appreciate that.
Take care, have a good day.
You as well. Thank you. That's how all officers should be, guys. She would definitely be getting an A+ for this.
And they'll give you a call at this number when it's ready. And then you just pick it up here, and we're open weekdays till 3:30.
Okay, what's your name and your badge number, sir?
Mark, 357.
Mark 357. Yes, sir. You have a good one. Thank you. There you have it, guys. Brown Deer PD. Done and done. Off to the next one.